Hi everyone. So now that we are done with the top-down parser, predictive parser was a top-down parser. Recursive descent parser was a top-down parser. So now that we are done with the top-down parser, now we'll move on to bottom-up parsers. What's a top-down parser? Top-down parser is one in which we start with the start symbol of the context-free grammar and we keep on moving downwards till we match the user input string. It's top down. We start with the start symbol and go towards matching with the input string. In bottom up parser, we'll start with the input string and we move backwards. We complete the processing when the starting symbol is encountered. So in bottom up, it's opposite of top down. So in bottom up, we start with the input string. We keep on replacing the right hand side of the production with the left hand side, and we keep on reducing till we find out the starting symbol. Okay, that is what a bottom up parser is. So I've given a small example here. This is a grammar. E gives e plus e or into e or open bracket e close bracket or id. So this is a small example here. This is a grammar, and then id plus id into id is a string that I am interested in. So I'm interested in id plus id into id. Okay, so now let's write rightmost derivation of that first. Okay, so I start with the starting symbol. Okay, so I replace e with e plus e. Now rightmost derivation means rightmost non-terminal I have to substitute, right? So rightmost non-terminal, this e I am substituting with e multiplied by e. This e I am substituting with id. Now rightmost terminal is this e. I am replacing it with id. Now rightmost terminal is this e. I am replacing it with id. So with rightmost derivation I was able to derive this input from starting symbol, right? So there is one bottom up parser called shift reduce parser which works exactly opposite of the rightmost derivation. Okay, I have given you all a grammar here. I have given you all the rightmost derivation of one string of my interest. Okay, so shift reduce parser is opposite of rightmost derivation. It is opposite of rightmost derivation. Okay, so here at each step we match the right hand side with the production and replace it with the left hand side. So let's say how we go about doing this. Okay, so this is a stack that I maintain. This is the input column which contains how I process my input string, and this is the action column. So there are two possible actions which are allowed here: shift and reduce. Okay, so shift is one action, reduce is the second action. Okay, so it's a shift reduce. These are the only two actions possible. That's why the name of the parser is shift reduce. Okay, so please remember, I'll give you all a simple tip as far as this parser goes. It goes in the opposite of rightmost derivation. So what you all do is, whenever a grammar is given to you all, something like this, and the input string is given to you all, please write down the rightmost derivation of it first. That will definitely help you all while parsing using shift reduce parser. So given this grammar, given this string, what did I do first? I wrote its rightmost derivation. So e gives e plus e. Now since this is rightmost terminal, I replaced it with e into e. I replace rightmost terminal with id, rightmost terminal with id, rightmost terminal with id, and I was able to get the input string from the starting symbol. This is the rightmost derivation. Shift reduce parser, please try to go in this way. Please try to go opposite of reverse of rightmost derivation. Okay, so at the start I place dollar at the stack, and this is the input string id plus id into id, and dollar is end of string marker. So now just concatenate these two virtually. Okay, just concatenate these two and you should get this. So if you concatenate this, what you get? id plus id into id, id plus id into id, meaning we are on the right track. So we have to go on reverse of rightmost derivation to keep track that we are going on the right track. Okay, so now id plus id into id is exactly matching this, meaning we are correct. So now action is shift id on the stack. So I shifted id on the stack. Now concatenate this id plus id into id, which is exactly same as this, meaning we are on the right track. Now Always try to move opposite of rightmost derivation. So now if I now this ID I have to match it with right hand side of the productions. This ID is matching with ID. So I replace ID with left hand side. So I replace ID with E. Now if you concatenate this, I get E plus ID into ID, which is E plus ID into ID. That means we are going good. We have to go on opposite of rightmost derivation. What did I mention? We have to go opposite of rightmost derivation. So when I started off, I had ID plus ID into ID. But as I'm moving, I'm getting E plus ID into ID. E plus ID into, meaning we are going opposite of rightmost derivation, meaning we are going on a right track. Correct? So now that we have this, we should try to get this, because we are going reverse of rightmost derivation. Since we are going reverse of rightmost derivation, and at this point we have E plus ID into ID, now we should focus to get this guy. Okay, so let's see if we get it. So now I am doing a shift, I am placing the plus here. Now I am doing shift again, I am moving the ID here. Now this ID, I am replacing it with E. So when I replace this ID with E, I get E plus E into ID, which is this. Wow, meaning we are on the right track. Now from here I got this E plus E into ID, okay, which is this. Great. Now you shift this asterisk. Now you shift the ID, okay. This is a continuation because of the space constraint, okay. I am shifting the ID here, so it is E plus E into ID. So I am E plus E into ID, we are correct. Now this ID I am replacing it with E. So as soon as this ID I replace with E, I get this. Wow, we are on the right track. From this I got this. Great. We are moving reverse of RMD. We are moving reverse of RMD. From this I got this. Awesome. So from this, can I get this? Definitely. I have to replace E into E by E. So when I replace E into E by E, I get this. Wow. Can I get E from this? Yes. I have to replace E plus E with E. When I replace E plus E with E, I get E. So with this, you are done. So whenever I replace E into E with E, I just write it here. I have reduced by using so and so production. When I replace E plus E with E, I just write here that I have reduced using E plus E production. Okay. So whenever I shift something on the stack, I write shift. Whenever I reduce using so and so production, I write using which production I have reduced it. Okay. So shift reduce parser, my simple hint to y'all is, given a grammar, given an input string, please write its RMD. Please write its rightmost derivation. And when you are using a shift reduce parser to parse this input string, it has to go in a reverse of RMD. If it exactly goes reverse of RMD, that means you are correct. So to start off, I did ID plus ID into ID, which was matching this. Then I shifted this ID on the stack. Then I replaced ID with E. After replacing ID with E, I got E plus ID into ID, which is this. So from this I got this, meaning we are moving on the right track. So now you should focus on getting this by doing shift and reduce. Okay, from here we have to get this. How to do that? I shift plus, I shift ID, then I replace ID with E. When I replace ID with E, I got this. Then you shift asterisk, then you shift ID, then I replace ID with E, then I got this. Then I replaced E into E with E, I get this. I replace E plus E with E, I get this. So I was able to get by following the rightmost derivation from the string to the first symbol. Okay. So shift reduce parser is nothing but going opposite of rightmost derivation. Simple. Now the next bottom up parser that I am planning to explain now to you all is operator precedence parser. We are done with shift reduce. That was the first bottom up parser. Second bottom up parser is operator precedence parser. Now what is an operator grammar? Grammar which have the property that no productions right hand side have two adjacent non-terminals. What is operator grammar? It's a grammar whose right hand side do not contain two adjacent non-terminals. I repeat, Operator grammar is a grammar whose right hand side do not contain two adjacent non-terminals. You can't have two adjacent non-terminals in an operator grammar. Clear? Operator precedence parser is one which have three disjoint precedence relationships, as I have shown here. Less than, equal to, greater than. These are the three different precedence relationships. Those are possible in operator precedence parser. But please remember that this less than operator is not same as the less than relational operators. That is because A can be less than related to B and B can be less than related to C here. Similarly, this A greater than B operator which is there here is not same as A greater than B relational operator. You can have A greater than B and B greater than A as well. Okay, so please remember that these relations are different from arithmetic less than, greater than and equal to operators, but look similar. So we could have A less than B and A greater than B for the same language, or we might have A less than B, A equal to B and A greater than B, all holding for the same terminals A and B. Because of that, these are not same as your relational operators, but those are similar, you can say, as far as the understanding goes, but those are not same. You can have A less than B, A equal to B and A greater than B for the same terminals. So these are the three different precedence relations in operator precedence parser. So when I have equal to, it means A is having same precedence as B. This means A yields precedence to B. This is A takes precedence over B. Okay, so it's just marking the precedence relations. So precedence relations from associativity and precedence. So first I will teach you all how to construct the precedence parsing table. This is a precedence parsing table. I will teach you all how to construct this table by just following the rules of associativity and precedence. Okay, by just following the rules of associativity and precedence, I will teach you all how to construct this table. Okay, so in order to construct this table, using just the operator precedence and associativity rules, you have to follow only these three rules, nothing else. Okay, so the first rule says if a particular operator is having higher precedence than another operator, if theta 1 is having higher precedence than theta 2, okay, then make theta 1 higher than theta 2 and theta 2 less than theta 1. First rule. Okay, so first rule says if theta 1 is having higher precedence than theta 2, then make theta 1 higher than theta 2 and theta 2 higher than theta 1. So over here exponentiation is having highest precedence over multiply, divide and over plus and minus. So make exponentiation is greater than asterisk, exponentiation greater than division sign, exponentiation greater than plus, exponentiation greater than minus. Mark them here. So exponentiation is greater than plus, exponentiation is greater than minus, exponentiation is greater than asterisk, exponentiation is greater than divide. Okay. Similarly, that rule says if theta 1 is higher than theta 2, make theta 1 higher than, greater than theta 2 and theta 2 less than theta 1. So make asterisk less than this, divide less than this, plus less than this, minus less than this. Okay. So over here, first rule says if theta 1 is having higher precedence than theta 2, make theta 1 greater than theta 2 and theta 2 less than theta 1. So in this example, exponentiation is having higher precedence than all these four operators. So mark in this table, exponentiation is greater than asterisk, exponentiation is greater than division, exponentiation is greater than plus, and exponentiation is greater than minus. The same rule says mark theta 2 less than theta 1, right? So mark asterisk is having less than exponentiation, division is having less than exponentiation, plus is having less than exponentiation, and minus is less than exponentiation. Simple rule. Similarly, multiply is having higher precedence than plus and minus. So make asterisk higher than plus and minus, and minus is less than asterisk, and plus is less than asterisk. Similarly, division is having higher precedence over plus and minus. So mark here, division is greater than plus, division is greater than minus, plus is less than division, and minus is less than division. So using that rule number 1, you will get many of the markings over here. Okay. So rule number 2 says if theta 1 and theta 2 are the operators of equal precedence, they may as well be the same operators. Then make theta 1 greater than theta 2 and theta 2 greater than theta 1 if operators are left associative. Or make theta 1 less than theta 2 and theta 2 less than theta 1 if they are right associative. Simple. So for exponentiation, it is a right associative. So it will match this part. Since it is right associative, mark theta 1 less than theta 2 and theta 2 less than theta 1. So mark exponentiation is less than exponentiation. Now multiply and divide are of same precedences. So that rule applies here also. For multiply and divide are same precedence, but those are left associative. So what it says, if it is left associative and precedence are same, make theta 1 greater than theta 2 and theta 2 greater than theta 1. So make asterisk greater than asterisk, asterisk greater than divide, divide greater than asterisk, and divide greater than divide. Similarly, plus is greater than plus, plus is greater than minus, minus is greater than minus, and minus is greater than plus. Rule 2 is also done. Rule number 3 says all the operators which are there in your problem statement, make them less than ID. Make ID greater than all those operators. Make all those operators, which are the operators in your problem statement? This one, exponentiation, multiply, divide, plus, minus. Only these ones. 5. So make all the operators less than ID. Make all operators greater. Make ID greater than all the operators. Make all operators less than open bracket. Make open bracket less than all the operators. Make close bracket greater than all the operators. Make all the operators greater than close bracket. Make all the operators greater than dollar. Make dollar less than all the operators. And then finally just follow this set of assignment statements, those are given. With this, your entire table, which is on my next slide, is prepared. Just follow these 3 rules and your table is done. Suppose how to handle unary operators using such algorithm. Suppose you have a unary prefix operator which is not a binary operator. We make all the operators less than unary operator. Okay, and we make that operator unary operator greater than all the operators, where unary operator is having highest precedence than the theta. Okay, if unary operator has higher precedence than theta, then make unary operator greater than theta, else you make unary operator less than theta. Simple. So that was one approach. When operators are given to you and their precedence relations and their associativity is given to you, then you have to follow the previous algorithm to construct the operator relation table, operator precedence table. Now this is a new grammar called operator precedence grammars. Operator grammar was a grammar in which you cannot have two adjacent non-terminals. What is the operator precedence grammar? Operator precedence grammar is a E-free operator grammar. Okay, so operator precedence grammar is a E-free, epsilon-free operator grammar in which precedence relations such as less than, equal to, and greater than are constructed by any pair of terminals A and B are disjoint. That is, never more than one of the relations is true. Okay, so in operator precedence grammars, it is a E-free grammar, E-free operator grammar it is. The reason I am saying operator grammar, meaning it cannot have two consecutive non-terminals. Second constraint for operator precedence grammar is it should be E free, it should be epsilon free. So operator precedence grammar cannot have two consecutive non-terminals, plus it cannot have an epsilon in it. And also the precedence relations, those are constructed for any pair of terminals, are disjoint. That is, never more than one relation can hold true between a pair of terminals. Only then I can consider that a grammar is an operator precedence grammar. Is that clear? Operator precedence grammar is a E-free operator grammar. That means it is an operator grammar plus it is E-free, plus when we construct the operator precedence relation table, we cannot have more than one relation between a particular pair of terminals. I cannot have less than, equal to, greater than, or more than 1. That means if it is less than, then less than. If it is equal to, then equal to. If it is greater than, then greater than. It cannot have more than one relations between a pair of specific terminals. Only then we consider that it is operator precedence grammar. So first we need to convert a given grammar, if ambiguous, into a non-ambiguous grammar. Because if a grammar is ambiguous, there is a huge chance that I'll get multiply defined entries in precedence parsing table. Okay, so please remove the ambiguity of the grammar if a ambiguous grammar is given to you in exams. Okay, so for this particular example, it is not an operator precedence grammar because it is ambiguous. This is not an operator precedence grammar because it is ambiguous. First, remove the ambiguity. Okay, how to remove the ambiguity? I had explained in one of my compiler sessions how to eliminate the ambiguity. Right? Wherein what we did was, I started off with this production, guys which are not ambiguous. So I took F, I introduced a new non-terminal which was giving open bracket E close bracket ID. Okay, then since multiply was left associative, I made this production left recursive. So this symbol was placed as the leftmost symbol on the left hand side of asterisk. That made this left recursive. So since multiply was left associative, I made this production left recursive. And I placed F, which was here, and F. I introduced an unit production as well. So there were two rules to make a unambiguous grammar. One was, if the operator is associative, make the production left recursive and introduce a unit production. So multiply was left associative, so I made this production left recursive by placing the T on the left hand side, and I introduced a unit production which was this. Again, plus was left associative, so I made it left recursive. So E gives E plus T or T. So using this method, I converted an ambiguous grammar into a non-ambiguous grammar. Okay. Now that this is non-ambiguous grammar, which is a prerequisite in operator precedence grammars, let's go ahead and compute some important components that we need to construct the predictive parsing table, operator precedence parsing table. So let's compute some components in order to construct operator precedence relations table. So here we need to compute leading and trailing. So let's see the examples first and let's get into theory later. So I need to compute leading and trailing. So how to compute leading? So now let's learn how to compute leading. For leading computation, I will just take you all to this slide. Okay. So there are two simple rules for computing leading. The first rule says, match for a production A gives gamma A delta. If gamma is epsilon or a single non-terminal, then place A into leading of capital A. For a production A gives gamma A delta, check whether the gamma is epsilon or a single non-terminal. If gamma is epsilon or a single non-terminal, place small a into leading of capital A. If gamma is epsilon or a single non-terminal, place small a into leading of capital A. Let's apply this rule. Gamma is epsilon, A is open bracket. So please note down carefully that this A, gamma, this A which is there is a terminal. Small a is a terminal. Okay. So if I match it with this, gamma A delta, gamma is epsilon, A is open bracket, delta is whatever follows after open bracket. Okay. So what we have to focus now is gamma have to be epsilon or a single non-terminal. Just focus that. Gamma have to be epsilon or a single non-terminal. So over here gamma is epsilon, okay, and small a is your open bracket. So since gamma is epsilon or a single non-terminal, put open bracket in leading of F. So open bracket goes into leading of F. Take the next production. Your gamma is again epsilon here. So ID goes in leading of F. So ID goes in leading of F. Check this. Gamma A delta. So gamma is single non-terminal. So asterisk goes in leading of T. Asterisk goes in leading of T. Check this rule. Gamma A delta. So gamma is single non-terminal. Plus goes in leading of E. So plus goes in leading of E. So I will again explain to you all this. Just check for all the productions of the format gamma A delta. And gamma have to be epsilon or a single non-terminal. If this production matches, put small a into leading of left hand side. Match it with gamma A delta where gamma have to be epsilon or a single non-terminal. If that matches, place small a into leading of left hand side. Okay. So gamma A delta. So gamma is epsilon here. So place open bracket in leading of F. I have placed open bracket in leading of F. Now match the next production gamma A delta. Gamma is epsilon. Place ID in leading of F. Place ID in leading of F. Then match this gamma A delta. Gamma is a single non-terminal. Place asterisk in leading of T. Place asterisk in leading of T. Match it here. Gamma A delta. Gamma is a single non-terminal. Place plus in leading of E. Place plus in leading of E. So with this, that rule is applied to all the productions. What's the next rule? Next rule says check for production which is starting with a non-terminal. I repeat, check for productions which starts with non-terminal. After you find a production starting with a non-terminal, okay, whatever is in the leading of that non-terminal, put it in leading on the left hand side. I repeat, when you find a production starting with a non-terminal, whatever is in the leading of that non-terminal, you put it into leading of left hand side. Okay. So this production is not starting with a non-terminal. This production is also not starting with a non-terminal. But this production is starting with a non-terminal. So that rule says whatever is in the leading of T, you place it in leading of T. Whatever is in leading of T, you place it in leading of T, which is one and the same thing. This production is starting with a non-terminal. So whatever is in leading of F, you place it in leading of T. So whatever is in leading of F, you place it in leading of T. This production is also starting with a non-terminal. So which says put leading of E into leading of E. But since it is one and the same thing, forget about it. This production starts with a non-terminal. Place leading of T into leading of E. So place leading of T into leading of E. That's it. So you have to just follow two different rules. First rule says match the productions for the form A gives gamma A delta. And gamma have to be epsilon or a single non-terminal. If that is there, put small a into leading of left hand side. So I checked that gamma was epsilon here. So keep open bracket was put in the leading of F. Then gamma was epsilon here. ID I have kept it in leading of F. Then gamma was a single non-terminal. So asterisk I placed it in leading of T. Capital E was a single non-terminal, so I placed plus into leading of E. Second rule said just focus on the productions whose right hand side starts with a non-terminal. If the right hand side starts with a non-terminal, whatever is in the leading of that starting non-terminal, put it into leading of left hand side. So these two productions are not starting with non-terminal, but this production starts with a non-terminal, which says whatever is in the leading of T, put it in leading of left hand side. So T is equal to T, so forget about it. This is starting with a non-terminal. So whatever is in the leading of F, you put it into leading of T. So whatever is in leading of F, you copy it in leading of T. Similarly, whatever is the leading of T, you assign it to leading of E. Whatever is the leading of T, you copy it to leading of E. That's it. So this is how to compute leading. Okay. Now let's compute trailing. Just to brief, what were the rules to compute leading? First, we have to match for a production whose right hand side is of the form gamma A delta, where gamma is epsilon or a single non-terminal. Then small a goes into leading of left hand side. Second rule said check for the productions whose right hand side was starting with a non-terminal. Then whatever is in the leading of that non-terminal, starting non-terminal, goes into leading of left hand side. Okay. So for trailing, similar rules. For trailing, you have to check out for a productions of the form gamma A delta, but now delta have to be epsilon or a single non-terminal. If that's the case, put small a into trailing of left hand side. I repeat, for trailing computations, look out for the productions of the form A gives gamma A delta, but now delta needs to be epsilon or a single non-terminal. If that's satisfied, put small a into trailing of left hand side. And the second rule for trailing tells us look out for the production which is ending with a non-terminal. I repeat, look out for the productions which ends with a non-terminal. Then whatever is in the trailing of that ending non-terminal, put it into trailing of left hand side. Whatever is in the trailing of the ending non-terminal, put it into trailing of left hand side. So it's opposite types in comparison with leading, right? So let's compute trailing. Apply the rule of gamma A delta, where delta have to be epsilon or a single non-terminal. So delta is epsilon, so close bracket is in trailing of F. So close bracket is in trailing of F. Delta is epsilon, ID goes in trailing of F. Okay. Delta is single non-terminal, so asterisk goes in trailing of T. Delta is single non-terminal, so plus goes in trailing of E. Okay. And what is the next rule? Next rule says look out for the productions, okay, which ends with a non-terminal. If it ends with a non-terminal, whatever trailing that ending non-terminal have, put it into trailing of left hand side. So this production ends with a non-terminal. So whatever is in trailing of F, you copy it into trailing of T. Whatever is in trailing of F, you copy it into trailing of T. This one also ends with non-terminal. So whatever is in trailing of F, you copy it into trailing of T, which we just did just now. Whatever is in trailing of T, put it in trailing of E on similar lines. Whatever is in trailing of T, put it into trailing of E. So copy whatever is in trailing of T into trailing of E. So that completes trailing. So I have computed leading and I have computed trailing. So now let's mark precedence relations. So trailing rules are almost opposite to leading rules. In leading rules, we have to focus on gamma A delta, where gamma is epsilon or a single non-terminal. In trailing, we have to focus on delta. Delta have to be epsilon or a single non-terminal. Similarly, the second rule said in leading, look out for productions starting with a non-terminal. And for trailing, it said look out for productions ending with a non-terminal. Interesting, right? So I have computed leading, I have computed trailing. Now let's compute precedence relations. Okay. Please remember, dollar is less than leading of starting symbol. trailing of starting symbol is greater than dollar. So these are the rules. Okay, dollar is less than leading of starting symbol, trailing of starting symbol is greater than dollar. Okay, dollar is less than leading of starting symbol, trailing of starting symbol is greater than dollar. This is always true. Then you keep on traversing this. Trailing of E is greater than plus. Trailing of E is greater than plus. Plus is less than leading of T. So now this plus is lying on the right hand side of E, right? That's why trailing of E is greater than plus. Since plus is lying on the left hand side of T, plus is less than leading of T. Okay. Similarly, trailing of T is greater than asterisk. Asterisk is less than leading of F. Okay. And if two terminals are separated by a single non-terminal, then terminal on the left hand side of that non-terminal is equal to terminal on its right. That's why equal to is that's why open bracket is equal to close. Okay, if two terminals are separated by a non-terminal, then the left hand side terminal is equal to right hand side. So open bracket is equal to close bracket. Similarly, open bracket is less than leading of E and trailing of E is greater than close bracket. So these are the different precedence relations. So these are very simple rules to follow for finding out precedence relations. First rule says dollar is less than leading of start symbol. That is over here. Dollar is less than leading of start symbol. And trailing of start symbol is greater than dollar. Okay, trailing of start symbol is greater than dollar. Then you have to keep on moving from left to right. Since plus is on the right hand side of this E, the precedence relation that we have is trailing of E is greater than plus, plus is less than leading of T, trailing of T is greater than asterisk, asterisk is less than F, open bracket is less than E, leading of E, trailing of E is greater than close bracket. And since these two terminals are separated by a single non-terminal, open bracket is equal to close bracket. So these are the different precedence relations. So following this table is constructed. I have all the terminals out here and a dollar, all the terminals out here and a dollar. Just follow this and mark them. Like trailing of E is greater than plus. So what is in trailing of E? Trailing of E is this. So plus is greater than plus, asterisk is greater than plus, close bracket is greater than plus, ID is greater than plus. Similarly, for the remaining ones, mark this. Plus is less than leading of T. So plus is less, where is leading of T? Here. So plus is less than asterisk, plus is less than open bracket, plus is less than ID. Similarly, this entire table will be marked if you follow only these relation rules. Clear? And now that we have a precedence relation table, the next comes parsing. So given a grammar, I converted that into a non-ambiguous grammar. I computed leading, I computed trailing. Looking at the grammar, I marked the precedence relations. Marking precedence relations is very easy. Dollar is less than starting symbol, trailing of starting symbol is greater than dollars. If two terminals are separated by a single non-terminal, left hand side terminal is equal to right hand side terminal. And if just go from left to right, trailing of E is greater than plus, plus is less than leading of T, trailing of T is greater than asterisk, asterisk is less than leading of F, open bracket is less than leading of E, trailing of E is greater than close bracket. That's all. Mark this and your table is done. While parsing, suppose I get an input string ID plus ID into ID. Now just check the table. What is dollar on ID? Dollar on ID. So dollar on ID is less than. So if it is less than or equal to, place it on the stack. Okay. So what is dollar on ID? It is less than. So if it is less than or equal to, place it on the stack. What is ID on plus? ID on plus is greater than. So ID on plus is greater than. So as soon as you find greater than, keep on popping the stack till you encounter the first less than. If you encounter a greater than, keep on popping the stack elements till you encounter the first less than. So this entire stuff goes away. What is dollar on plus? Dollar on plus is less than. That's why you place that plus on the stack. So dollar is connected to plus with less than. Okay. So what is plus on id? Plus on id is less than. So if it is less than or equal to, place it on the stack, I said, right? So plus on id is less than, so place. What is id on asterisk? id on asterisk is greater than. So id on asterisk is greater than. So keep on deleting the elements till you encounter the first less than. So remove all this. So what is plus on asterisk? Plus on asterisk is less than, so push it on the stack. Plus on asterisk is less than, so push it on stack. What is asterisk on id? Asterisk on id is less than, so push it on stack. Asterisk on id is less than, push it. What is id on dollar? id on dollar is greater than. Okay, so since id on dollar is greater than, now keep on popping stack elements till you encounter first less than. So this goes away. What is asterisk on dollar? Asterisk on dollar is greater than, right? Asterisk on dollar is greater than. Fine. So keep on popping the elements till you encounter first less than. So plus remains. What is plus on dollar? Plus on dollar is greater than. So keep on popping the elements till you encounter first less than. So there is nothing on stack, nothing on input. So input parsing is done. Just to give you all a tip again, whenever you will parse this, check the topmost element on the stack with the current input symbol. So dollar on id. So what is dollar on id? Dollar on id is less than. So dollar on id is less than. So if you encounter this relation as less than or equal to, keep on pushing it on the stack. I repeat, if it is less than or equal to, keep it pushing on the stack. As soon as you encounter greater than sign, keep on popping stack elements till you encounter first less than. I repeat, if you encounter a greater than sign, keep on popping stack elements till you encounter the first less than. That's why this goes away. Then you check plus on asterisk, right? That's why this goes away. That's why you check plus on asterisk. If it is less than or equal to, keep on adding. As soon as you encounter greater than, keep on deleting stack elements till you encounter first less than. That's why this goes away. Again you got a greater than, keep on deleting till you encounter first less than. This goes away. Again you got greater than, keep on deleting till you encounter first less than. Okay. So if you encounter less than equal to, keep on pushing it on the stack. If you encounter greater than sign, keep on deleting the stack symbols till you encounter first less than. Clear? So this is the algorithm for leading, which we already have seen. Look out for gamma A delta, where gamma is epsilon or a single non-terminal. If that's the case, place small a into leading of left hand side. Second rule for leading computation is, if a production starts with a non-terminal, whatever is in the leading of that non-terminal, put it in leading of left hand side. Algorithm for trailing is, look out for gamma A delta, where delta is epsilon or a single non-terminal. If that's the case, put small a into leading of left hand side. And look out for productions which are ending with a non-terminal. Whatever is in the trailing of this ending non-terminal, put it in trailing on left hand side. And this is the algorithm for computing the precedence relations. As I have said, compute the leading and trailing for each non-terminal in your grammar. Place dollar is less than leading of start symbol and keep trailing of start symbol greater than dollar. Then for the other productions, if xi and xi plus 1 are both terminals, then set xi is equal to xi plus 1. If you have a series of terminals, okay, if you have series of terminals in the productions, like capital A giving small a small b, so small a small b are concatenated, right? In operator precedence grammars, you cannot have two consecutive non-terminals, because you can have two consecutive terminals. So if you have xi and xi plus 1, meaning two consecutive terminals, then left hand side terminal is equal to right hand side terminal. Okay. And if xi and xi plus 2, second rule says if xi and xi plus 2 are terminals, and there is a separating non-terminal between them, then make xi is equal to xi plus 2, which is exactly what I taught you all here. Open bracket was equal to close bracket. Why did I say that? Because there is a single non-terminal separating these two terminals. So please remember, if the terminals are consecutive to each other, left hand side terminal is equal to right hand side terminal. And if there is a single non-terminal separating these two terminals, then again left hand side terminal is equal to right hand side terminal. Okay, I repeat, if there are two consecutive terminals, left hand side terminal is equal to right hand side terminal, and if the two terminals are separated by a single non-terminal, left hand side terminal is still equal to right hand side terminal. Okay, and the next rule says, if I have xi as a terminal, xi plus 1 as a non-terminal, then xi is less than leading of the next non-terminal. Similarly, if xi is a non-terminal and the next element is a terminal, then trailing of that xi is greater than the terminal on its right. Okay, that's what I explained here. Trailing of e is greater than plus, but plus is less than leading of t. Trailing of t is greater than asterisk, but asterisk is less than leading of f. Similarly, open bracket is less than leading of e, but trailing of e is greater than close bracket. Okay, and this is operator precedence parsing algorithm, which I explained with this example. What did I say? If you encounter less than or equal to, place it on stack, but as soon as you encounter a greater than sign, keep on popping the stack elements till you encounter the first less than. That's why these three elements go away. If it is less than or equal to, keep on pushing elements on the stack, but if you encounter a greater than sign, keep on popping stack elements till you encounter the first less than. That is over here. If a is less than b or a is equal to b, then shift it on the stack. If it is less than or equal to, keep on shifting on the stack. As soon as you encounter a greater than sign, keep on deleting stack elements till you encounter the first less than. So when the input stack character and when the input and the stack both are empty, we consider that parsing is success. And the last concept in operator precedence parsing is precedence functions. Okay, so precedence function relation table can be encoded by two different functions, f and g, okay, which map terminal symbols to integers. Okay, now we will explain to you all how to draw precedence function graph. So I will give you all a very simple tip here which will help you a lot. So this is a table that is given to us here, which is ready-made for now, and I am supposed to construct a precedence functions graph and precedence functions table. So how to go about doing that? Please remember that I am supposed to create nodes now. So for each terminals, okay, it will have its f and it will have its g. So f and g are two precedence functions. Okay, so how many terminals are there with us? 1, 2, 3 and 4, including the dollar. So there are 4. So that means you need to write 4f terminals and 4g terminals. Okay, so I need to have fid, f of id, g of id, f of plus, g of plus, f of asterisk, g of asterisk, and f of dollar and g of dollar. Okay, that is step number 1. I need to create symbols f of a and g of a for each of terminals including dollar. Okay, so I need to have f of id, g of id, f of plus, g of plus, f of asterisk, g of asterisk, f of dollar and g of dollar. Okay, after that is done, I need to partition the created symbols into as many groups as possible, such that, please remember that now I have f and g. A simple tip here would be, always remember that f is on the left, g is on the right. Always remember that f is on the left, g is on the right. So if there are two terminals which are equal, then place f of a and g of b into one group. As a small tip, please remember in this entire stuff that f is on the left and g is on the right. I repeat, f is on the left and g is on the right. So if a is equal to b, put f of a and g of b both into single group. If A is equal to B, put f of A and g of B in one group. If C is equal to B, put f of C and g of B in one group. But since f of A and g of B is in one group and f of C and g of B is in one group, f of C will automatically come in a group of FA. Correct? F of A and g of B, put it into one group. But since f of C and g of B is in one group, that's why f of A, f of C and g of B, all three will be in one group. Correct? So if C is equal to D, f of C and g of D will be in one group. F of C and g of D will be in one group. Okay? So create groups, as many groups as possible using equal to relations. So whenever any two operators are equal, f of left hand side and g of right hand side is in one group. So in this example, I don't have any equal to signs here. That's why each of the functions that those I had created in step 1 are disjoint. Since this table don't have any equal to sign, rule number 2 is not applicable for this example. That's why all these f of id, g of id, f of plus, g of plus, f of asterisk, g of asterisk, f of dollar, g of dollar, all that I created are not grouped into a common groups because there are no equal to sign here. So all of them are disjoint. Okay. Step number 3 says I am supposed to draw a graph now. Okay. Again, here I am giving you all a small tip. The first small tip that I given to you all was always f is on the left, g is on the right. That was the first tip, right? F is on the left, g is on the right. Second tip says always draw arc from greater than to less than sign. Second tip says always draw a graph from greater than to less than sign. So if I have this relation, you will draw arc from where to where? G of B to f of A. First tip was always you consider f is on left, g is on right. F is on left, g is on right. Second tip, always draw arc from greater than to less than. Always draw arc from greater than to less than. So for this relation, you will draw arc from g of B to f of A. You will draw arc from g of B to f of A. For this, you will draw a arc from f of A to g of B. Here you will draw from f of A to g of B. So let's draw these arcs. The first step is I have f of id, g of id, f of plus, g of plus, f of asterisk, g of asterisk, f of dollar, g of dollar. Second point says if there is equal to, place f of left hand side and g of right hand side in one group. But since I don't have an equal to signs, each of these nodes are disjoint nodes. Point number 3 says let's mark the arcs. id is greater than plus. So mark an arc from f of id to g of plus. Mark f of id to g of asterisk. Mark f of id to g of dollar. Then let's mark the arcs for plus and id. Since plus is less than id, mark a arc from g of id to f of plus. That was the second tip I gave you. Always go from greater than to less. Since plus is less than id, mark a arc from g of id to f of plus. Here mark a id from f of plus to f of plus. Here mark a arc from g of asterisk to f of plus. Here f of plus to g of dollar. Here g of id to f of asterisk. Here f of asterisk to f of g of plus. Here f of asterisk to g of asterisk. Here f of asterisk to g of dollar. Here g of id to f of dollar. Here g of plus to f of dollar. Here g of asterisk to f of dollar. If you just follow my two simple tips, your graph will be done. Always consider f on left, g on right, and always mark arc from greater than sign to less than sign. So for over here, mark arc from f of id to g of plus. Over here, mark an arc from g of id to f of plus. With that, your graph will be done. Last is precedence functions table, wherein for each of the terminals you have f and g. For f on id, you have to find the longest possible path which is there in the graph. 1, 2, 3 or 1, it's 4. So longest will be 4 somewhere. 1, 2, 3 and 4. So longest possible path outgoing from f of id is 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4. So mark it 4. For G it is 5, G of ID. Let's see how. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, for G of ID it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Check out the longest possible path that can go out from that particular node and write it down here. So that completes precedence functions table. So see you all in the next session. Thank you.